What would you say if I told you that the greatest painter of the Dutch Golden Age preferred ugliness to beauty? One of the greatest storytellers in the history of art, Rembrandt van Rijn favored uncompromising realism. Known as a painter of light and shade, he possessed the exceptional ability to render people in their various moods and dramatic appearances. Hi, my name is Alain Arbois, and today I'm going to talk about the artist Rembrandt van Rijn. To begin, I will discuss his early life, then I will discuss his artistic career. Let's begin with his early life. His early life can be divided between his childhood and his teenage years. Let's begin with his childhood. According to the National Gallery of Art, he was born on July 15, 1606 in Leiden, Netherlands, son of a corn miller and a baker's daughter, the eighth of at least 10 children. He comes from a prosperous family. As the youngest son, he wasn't expected to carry on the family business. At the age of 7, he was sent to Leiden Latin School, where he attended for roughly 7 years. Now let's talk about his teenage years. At the age of 14, he enrolled at the University of Leiden. He left after only a few months to become a painter. In 1620, he began learning the fundamentals of painting from a Leiden painter named Jacob Isaacs van Swanenberg for 3 years. In 1624, his father sent him to Amsterdam, where he studied under the famous historical painter Peter Lasman for 6 months. As you can see, Rembrandt didn't discover his passion of art until he was in his teenage years. But let's see how much better he gets with the start of his artistic career. The beginning of Rembrandt's artistic career started when he opened a studio in Leiden in 1625. According to the Encyclopedia of World Biography, one of his earliest works, The Stoning of Saint Stephen, shows a partially successful imitation of Lasman's style. By 1627, Rembrandt had mastered the techniques of light and shade based on the works of Caravaggio. In 1628, he made his first etchings, and in 1629, he created the Judas Repentance and the Artist in his Studio, among other notable works. Rembrandt moved back to Amsterdam in 1632. He stayed with an art dealer named Hendrik van Ulenberg. It was there that he met Hendrik's cousin, Saskia van Ulenberg, the daughter of a wealthy mayor. They married shortly after in 1634. Rembrandt's rise to fame came in the 1630s. In 1632, he painted a group portrait called The Anatomy Lesson of Dr. Tulp, which brought him boundless recognition. That same year, he became a Burgess of Amsterdam and a member of the local Guild of Painters. According to the artstory.org, throughout the 1630s, Rembrandt produced at least 65 commissioned portraits. He had a vast collection of various artworks and antiquities from foreign places to use in his own paintings and etchings. In 1639, he purchased a large house in Amsterdam for a considerable amount of money, creating a debt that would eventually figure into his financial troubles. Rembrandt and Saskia had 4 children throughout their marriage, but only Titus, born 1641, survived past infancy. Saskia died in 1642 after a long battle with tuberculosis. Soon after, he hired Gertrude Dirks as a nurse for Titus and began a relationship with her. In 1643, he painted The Night's Watch, one of his largest and most famous group portrait paintings, and in 1645, he finished the 100 Guilder print, one of his most renowned etchings. Life became more unsettled for Rembrandt during the mid-1640s. In 1648, he dismissed Gertrude from his employment. Gertrude would later charge him with breach of promise after not marrying her, and she was awarded an alimony of 200 guilders per year. Rembrandt would later have her committed after learning that she had pawned jewelry that had once belonged to Saskia. In 1649, Rembrandt began a relationship with his maid Hendrik Stoffels. In 1654, they had a daughter named Cornelia. While considered wed under common law, Rembrandt couldn't marry Hendrik for fear of losing access to a trust fund that Saskia had set up for Titus. Rembrandt faced financial ruin in the 1650s and 1660s. He was forced to declare for insolvency in 1656. It's similar to bankruptcy but without the jail time. His estate, including his vast collection of antiquities, were auctioned off in 1657. He then moved into a small house on the Rozengracht district of Amsterdam, where he lived out the rest of his life. In 1660, the Amsterdam Gay Painters Guild introduced a new rule that no one in Rembrandt's circumstances could trade as a painter. As a workaround, Hendrik and Titus set up a business as art dealers, hiring Rembrandt as an employee, according to RembrandtOnline.org. In 1662, he painted the group portrait, The Sampling Officials of the Drapers Guild, and a few months later, he finished two beautiful portraits, Man with a Magnifying Glass and Lady with a Pink, that are said to have few peers in all the realm of art, according to the Encyclopedia of World Biography. In 1663, his wife Hendrik died. His son Titus died in September of 1668, only 6 months after getting married. Despite being alone, he continued to paint. His last self-portrait is dated 1669. When he died on October 4, 1669, a painting Simeon with the Christ child in the temple was left unfinished. He was buried in Westerkerk, Amsterdam, next to Hendrik and Titus. In conclusion, Rembrandt had only ever had a passion for art, from his early life to his teenage years and throughout his artistic career. He improved on the teachings of his masters and developed his own style of realism, becoming the most prominent painter in Dutch history. This shows us that through patience and determination, we can continue to grow and improve. As Rembrandt once famously said, "Practice what you know, and it will help you to make clear what now you do not know." This has been my speech on Rembrandt van Rijn. Thank you.